always a pleasure actually to be a part of whatever you do. I love this concept and I think it's brilliant. I was actually going through the Instagram page and saw the lineup of speakers that you had prior, and I think it's spectacular. Absolutely. So thank you again, and thank you everyone for joining. I may not be that interesting, but I'll try. um, so my name's Sameer
Food is always
Malkani.
interesting, Sameer.
Sorry?
Food is always interesting.
Yeah,
Food
yeah.
is always
I
interesting to all
agree.
of us.
So I have a passion for, and I haven't even shaved today, and yesterday, and day before, but
And this
that's
video is
okay.
going live, huh? The video is going to go
Yeah,
live
yeah,
afterwards.
that's fine. I'm not bothered. But so first of all, I am from Bombay and always been Mumbaiite or Bombayite, whatever you may call it. I always had a passion for food ever since college. So interestingly, when I was very young, I used to sit at the table like this with my head down, and my parents used to tell me, come on, eat," and I used to never eat anything. And I was skinny, quite opposite to what I am now. And I used to just uh, not be interested in food at all. And surprisingly, college onwards, I started loving food and totally passion for everything in food as of now, right from eating to reading to writing to social media, to cooking. So I do cook very often and everything in food. So it's just a passion, food, drink, and hospitality. I started my career at Ogilvy and Mather, now called O&M, or now called Ogilvy actually. It was Ogilvy and Mather, then O&M, and now Ogilvy in advertising, in client servicing for a good 5 years, which actually taught me a lot. And I moved from there to Discovery Channel India. Uh, which was a very interesting move. Our clients at Ogilvy were Discovery Channel, and I was servicing the client. And after a point of time, they said, "Why don't you come on board?" And I said, "Why not?" Because it's a brilliant brand, a US-based company. And at that time, it was totally. I was a starry-eyed boy, and I said, "Yes, of course," and went for it. And it was one of the most brilliant experiences of my life. Traveled at least 8 months a year in India and globally. And I was there for over 5 years. Moved to Delhi for 3 years with Discovery Channel. And the Mumbai Delhi divide is very apparent, where all my friends said, "Are you mad?" My family said, "How can you do this?" But anyway, I took the plunge. Me and my wife moved there, and we had actually a very good time. So Delhi was very kind to us and came back to Bombay with Discovery, and then started, I always wanted to do something on my own and decided to start something. So started off with something called Hospitality Education Consultants India, which still exists, which married my love for food, food education rather, and, education. The Discovery actually was a launch platform where we launched as an edutainment channel. So married both and started, being an agent for sending students abroad to study hospitality. In hindsight, I should have also stuck to that. I think the repertoire would have been much larger than it is today. But after, I think, 3 years of it doing quite well, I decided to move on. And all this time while I was trying, I started something called EMMCI, where we were helping companies market themselves, and a lot more. So all these times while, I was trying different entrepreneurships and businesses, a good 6 years. I loved people, I loved food, and I started slowly building a community online on social media as well as offline of food enthusiasts, of foodies. I mean, whatever you may call it. So I started building a community. I used to blog ages back on technology. That was a long time back, and I thought, why not? And through this community, I met a lot of people who wrote on food, whether in print or as a blog. So I said, why not build the community stronger? And did that. And until 3.5, 4 years back, I was not full time into what I'm doing now. I was doing that on the side as well as doing other things. So as I built this community, it actually grew, and it since there were a lot of food bloggers in the community, as we were talking about the name, the FBAI, which is now registered as, we started calling it the Food Bloggers Association of India, and that's why FBAI. So still a lot of people know it as the Food Bloggers Association of India, but we have consciously tried to change the name to the FBAI, right from registration to GST to everywhere, because we realized little over a year back that we moved long ahead from only food bloggers. So basically, so what I did, and then my wife joined me subsequently in the past 6.5, nearly 7 years, is started building communities. I had already built the communities of food lovers, enthusiasts, and bloggers, and then started building communities of chefs, home chefs, restaurateurs, mixologists, and now we have very robust communities in the food and beverage and hospitality space, which I'm very proud of. And it's taken a lot of hard work, a lot of consistency, which is the most important thing, and adding value again to communities. It's and Sampath would know, he adds a lot of value to his community, and it's very important to always add value to communities. And we constantly in the past 6-7 years and continue adding value to communities that we've actually built and people who are part of the community. So this is a very broad perspective. To be specific, what the FBI does is, until now, and I mean we still do, we built a lot of robust on-ground properties, IPs, including we started one of the first awards for food bloggers in the country, the India Food Blogger Awards, which this is the 5th year in a row. We haven't had a physical award as yet. So we may do it virtually. We're still toying with the idea, where we actually award food bloggers and writers in different categories, right from culinary travel to recipe blogs, to restaurant review blogs, to photo blogs, and there are many categories. Across India, they submit their blogs, a jury goes through it, and they are awarded at the ceremony that we have. And that is absolutely fantastic, and it's been doing really well. So that is one of the examples of our on-ground properties. We work very closely with home chefs. So we have something called the Home Chef Matters, which is a home conference for home chefs that we do every year. This year, again, we've not done it, so we'll figure what to do. But this is actually to take the chef to the next level in their entrepreneurship journey. So, topics include things like from home kitchen to commercial kitchen, managing your finances, GST, marketing your brand, and things like that. So over 100 home chefs attend this conference every year. Last year we had it at the St. Regis, and it's always brilliant. It's like a huge family, and we have experts in their domain who actually come and address the conference and talk to the attendees. Similarly, we do something called Home Baker Matters. Again, it's a conference for home bakers. So there's a clear disparity between chefs, home chefs, and home bakers. Home bakers, we did it last year in Bangalore, and we are looking to do it this year or next year in Bombay. And again, it's absolutely fantastic. We also have something called the FBI Wellness, where we have a conference. So a lot of conferences basically that we do. Besides that, we do restaurant reviews, we do media meets, we do a lot of things for the F&B industry. We do social media campaigns for brands because we are organically one of the right social media platform choices for a lot of the brands. So we've not bought followers as yet. A lot of people do, and I don't see any harm in doing so, but we've refrained from it. And so organically we are working with Godrej Industries, Dabur India, ITC Foods, Kurkure, and that's Frito-Lay, Pepsi, and so many other brands that approach us and say, can you do this? Can you do this? So that is our basic revenue stream besides the conferences, etc. And that's primarily what we do so far. Interestingly, in the home chef space, we started something called the FBI Kitchen, where we actually took up a food truck in a place called Bar Bank in Juhu, Bombay, where we actually gave out the truck to home chef for a month to run it themselves like their own restaurant. So right from things like inventory to procuring ingredients to quality control, portion control, KOTs at the food truck, everything was handled by them. And we had our first home chef. So home chef actually do Sindhi cuisine. The next one, Sherry, actually did Punjabi. And unfortunately, then, the lockdown came into place. But we'll see where we go from here. What we've done effectively now in these past 3 months or 2 months since the lockdown is shifted a lot of what we do online on social media. So we are present on all social media, right from LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, if you might say so, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere. So we've ensured, because our strength is social media, we have, at least have a presence on all platforms. And social media campaigns we still do for brands, but we've also now started creating IPs online on social media for the time being, because we don't know when we can do it online. So offline. So for example, we have something called the Home Chef Show. So it's a chat with home chefs across the country, which our show host Ananya Banerjee actually does. She's also a chef. So she actually chats once a week with everyone, all the home chefs across the country, getting perspectives on ingredients, what they do, delivery, and so very interesting conversations. There's an FBI quiz that we do twice a week, where Vidita Kamath, who is also a chef, actually asks questions which are theme-based. So for example, last quiz was on root vegetables. So you have people logging in, interacting. She takes on people live. So very interesting. So basically, we have 7 shows as of now online. And what we are doing is trying to, as of now, it's on social media. We will take them on other platforms, whether a website or YouTube or wherever, Vimeo or whatever, at a later point of time with a proper kind of show setup. But what we are essentially doing is from offline IPs that we've actually built, we are retaining that should, things get better, and we can continue doing that. But we've quickly built online IPs. And we are in talks with a couple of sponsors to actually come on board to sponsor them. Secondly, we just announced last week the launch of something called FBI Academy. FBI Academy essentially is a digital online academy for learning everything in food, drink, and hospitality. As simple as that. So we have things like, creating a home kitchen garden, to ABC of wine, to food styling, to recipes, to different things. And this we are taking very seriously and launching in a big way. And that's about it. I think I spoke a lot.
No, you didn't speak much, huh?
I spoke quickly.
You spoke quickly, let's get over with this and let the questions come in.
No. But I'm just saying we do fun things like this,
Yes.
where we actually, this is a metal thing. So we create, just fun props for different offline events that we've been doing. And, so we have a lot of fun, but we do things with all earnesty and seriousness. Our target audience consists of all varieties of people, from the youngsters who want to get in, to the established, folks. So it's actually very enriching for me as a person, and I actually thoroughly enjoy what I do.
And there are some people who only are there for the food. That's all, like me.
Yeah, of course. That is in any. That's always the case. Sorry for that. Yeah.
So always, Samir has always been inviting me for the Food Blogger Awards, and I really got so many connections. A lot of our guests who have come from the F&B industry are all through Samir, and he's such a person who just selflessly connects. Meet Sam, meet this guy, meet this, connect with each other, and really fabulous guest. And he has this really curated evenings where he calls some special people. So if you're on his list, you'd make it to that evening and have some really great connections and great food. I mean, always this food is always part of that. Food and alcohol is very important.
Yeah.
So the
Thank
last
you,
one,
Sampath.
yes, the last one we did was at Loka at
Yeah, Loka.
that was
Yes.
this was a very nice one. So
Yes.
Samir, how has been the journey in terms of, do you think you'll be able to make more revenue online compared to offline?
So, Sampath, I think with the FBI Academy, we will be. We've actually chalked down, as of now, 3-year plan for that. We are taking it very seriously. What we are doing is we have been talking to people from the industry, consumers as well as educators, who we call them. But an educator can be something like a chef Ranveer Bra, who will show recipes which he otherwise doesn't show on his YouTube channel. So there has to be a USP for what they're teaching, because otherwise it's available on digital anyway. So it has to be specific to that, and the multitude of people in in the India hinterland, which I think B towns, C towns, as well as globally, the Indian expat population that is present globally, who would love to probably learn from chefs who are known to them. I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Yes. Because global has suddenly opened up with Zoom coming in.
Yes.
Everybody is online, and there's a lot of interaction which happens, and people have got over that hangover. Previously, if somebody used to tell me get onto Skype and let's have a Skype call, I said, why?
Yeah.
You want a Skype call? It's like,
Yeah.
The name Skype only was a bit, you're trying to escape or something.
Yeah.
But now what's happened with Zoom, everybody, it's become so comfortable, and people have realized sometimes, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, catching a 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock morning flight and coming back that day just to meet one person, which it could be done, maybe on a Zoom call.
Yeah, true. Totally.
Great. Okay, so we go to questions. Can we just have the questions in the type chat? So, and then we'll get you on the spotlight also.
Yeah. So, Sampath, I must say, and all of y'all, that I really enjoy the community that Sampath has built, because there are people from all different walks of life doing multitude of things, and actually there for connecting, for learning, with no hard business selling. So I actually really appreciate that and love that, Sampath.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Reshma has got a question. She's like all set to go. Reshma Mane. Yeah, Reshma.
Yeah. So so in my introduction, I had mentioned that I'm starting delivery this week. It's a new forte for me, and obviously considering the change in the trend, people are not going out to eat. So this is something that home chefs can look at. What do you think? What are your views on this, and what do you think is the delivery going to be like in the future, the next 6 months? Consider.
So, Reshma, that's why I had asked Himangi the question earlier. Has your business suddenly surged?
Right.
We've been in touch with home chefs across the country, and those at least staying in close communities and complexes, their business has surged, probably 5 times over. Because instead of ordering from a restaurant, they rather order from a chef who they know, based around within their community, and they think it's safer, whether in reality or psychologically, I don't know. But I also do think in reality it's safer. And they are ordering cakes, food. For example, one chef is Rachna Prasad, who stays in Andheri East, and her orders have tripled overnight, and she's just busy absolutely. Another example is Chef Anis Khan, who runs this thing called Star Anis,
Right.
where they had a small store at Bandra.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is now delivering to, in fact, my wife's Saloni, even her building.
Right.
He, of course, does different days, different complexes, and different areas. But he takes a pre-order through WhatsApp from a point contact in the building, and buildings now have these groups, WhatsApp groups, and they say there's a menu, he will be delivering on Friday, place your orders.
Right.
And then the contact person gives bulk orders, and then he comes and delivers it. So I know, for example, from a contact that one of the building, the orders was in one day, one order was 78,000. You know, which is an amazing amount. Of course, it's a larger kind of building, but just 2 buildings. But the opportunities are huge, is all I'm trying to say.
Right. Right.
You know, but the other thing, Reshma, you have to understand, as things open up and people are getting, you know, out, the opportunities will diminish. It's not that they are going to remain stagnant.
Right.
Now is the opportunity for home delivery, for home chefs. We don't know how long it'll last, but if this goes away, and hopefully it does, you know, it will reduce drastically.
Right. Okay.
Yes, because people will then start going out, eating, exploring other options, etc.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
But as of now, if you can make hay while the sun shines, why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Reshma Kumar, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. So, Reshma, could you just maybe just introduce yourself to Samir, because you know he could be a very good connect for you.
Yes. Actually, Mr. Samir, we've met before at Sam's event and another event.
Okay.
I'm Reshma Kumar. Hi. I'm Reshma Kumar. I have a company called H2H. We basically do accessories, interior accessories, including pottery, and I import pottery from Japan for our crockery. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Since I'm at
yes,
it, might as
yes,
well ask a question. Is that how now for us, like a lot of chefs do come and ask for barters and stuff like that. Now, how do you think in the online space will that work? I mean, delivery is not a problem, but how do you think, you know, those kind of plating exercises, would it work?
So what kind of barters do they, can you give me a case example of a barter that they ask?
So what they do is they ask us for a couple of our platters and plates, and then what they do is they do a workshop of plating and giving our brand also the name and stuff like that. Now, normally what they used to do is they used to do it live, wherein there are a couple of guests, around 12-15 people, and then they do it for them. They show them how to do the plating, and then they obviously take the plates home. But it gives us branding value also, and obviously association with the chef. How do you think in the online space, do you think it's going to be as effective?
So I don't see, the online space is evolving. There was a time where there was a surge of people online. Currently, it is diminishing slowly also. So I really don't know. Depending on how it evolves, Reshma, one can actually answer that question. But I believe if they were doing a live earlier, and if they were doing it, you mean they were doing a proper face-to-face session, and if they are doing now a live on digital media and they are asking for your plates and want to do a demo, etc., I think it would work the same way. You have to see whether you're getting the value that you can derive out of it. Basically, it's that. If you think you're getting enough value, then go for it. If you think you're not, then just reject it. That's it.
Okay.
And I also feel barters work to a certain extent. Beyond that, you have to get commercial and ask, even if it's a nominal amount to cover your costs, it's critical to get that amount. It's as simple as that, you know.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Reshma is the one.
Thank you, Reshma.
As soon as the lockdown ends, Reshma is the one giving you your gift. for this event. So since everything,
Yes.
you will not get a virtual gift, you will get a hard copy, you know, as we say, gift over there.
A digital gift. I don't mind.
Physical gift over there.
Yeah.
Would be my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Hemangi,
you.
so Kavi wants to start. He's asking you for the, you know, license. He says he wants to start Fashion Bloggers Association of India.
But that's a great idea. So, you know, after we started FBAI, which is Food Bloggers Association, there are so many blogger associations that have come up. It is unbelievable. I mean, I go and see, Saloni goes and see, okay, there's also food blogger, something. So all very similar names, all calling them the FBAC, FB this, and very similar and trying to emulate. But I say it's always good. The more, the merrier, because we stand out then. It's as simple as that.
Great. Nile has asked a question. Nile, you want to ask your question? Nile? Okay, Hemangi raised her hand. So Hemangi, over to you.
Yes. Hi, Samir.
Hi,
Samir,
Hemangi.
I just wanted to ask, since you know you talked a lot about home chefs and in general businesses, like you gave the example of Star Anise and everything. From your journey, spending time with so many food creators and always possible, how do you think a brand can add more value? Like you even commented on Sampath always adding value, and you of course you guys add a lot of value. So now for a food manufacturer or something, what activities do you think people can do to stand out? Because there are so many people into food, and there's so much of competition. What do you think different things which you can do to add value to your already existing clients?
I always believe one thing very clearly: in whatever business you are, to add value, you have to under promise and over deliver. Always. That's it. There's nothing else. So you need to figure in your business how you can under promise and over deliver. That's it. So if you promise the moon and you're giving the earth, there is an issue. But if you promise the earth and you're giving the stars, then there is always a delight. There is always an association, and people always come back to you. That's it.
That's true.
That is the only. So in your thing, you need to actually figure how you can do that. For example, if you're sending a cake, maybe you can send a small cupcake along with, of a different flavor for them to try as a trial thing. That is a value add that you're giving your customer who's already a paid customer. So it's not you're trying to get paid customers. He's already paying, but you're giving them him or her that extra value, which will also entice them to order cupcakes from you the next night. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Now that is what I call value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hemangi adds value to Jam with Sam by giving a lot of muffins and cakes and all.
yeah, absolutely. Yes, I remember the last time also. Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so over to Ravi's question, and just to everyone, we will be having at 8 o'clock starting the breakout rooms. So all of you will be moved, excepting the speaker. Samir, don't get scared.
No, I'm not. Don't worry.
All of you will be moved to the breakout rooms. So all the guests all please remain. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of networking in the breakout rooms. Since you don't have a networking option afterwards, we have the breakout rooms. Yeah. Okay. We have Ravi will hit me with some food. If he doesn't get to speak, Ravi, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Samir, I have two queries with you. One is my brother's daughter-in-law. She's done a course of a chef in baking.
Okay.
I wish her to consider joining the academy which you mentioned.
Okay.
I would be happy if you could connect to me and send me some details where she can then be in touch with you to pursue that. That's
absolutely. Why not? 100%. I will get your coordinates from Sampath and vice versa, and we can take it forward.
I have texted it to you now on the chat box. If you wish, you can note it from there.
Fantastic.
The second one is, Samir, it's you and I. We are doing good work with ITC, Britannia, Parleys for final crisping or drying of biscuits.
Okay.
We've done work with Frito-Lays and a couple of others also. And there could be ample opportunities to collaborate. We could meet all.
Ravi, your video is frozen.
Mine is frozen or Mr.
No,
Nath?
Ravi's is frozen.
Yeah.
He's not in his laptop today. Okay.
No.
So
Ravi's crisping himself.
Okay, Nihal.
He's back.
Ravi, you're back. Ravi,
Sam, yeah.
You got frozen. So unfreeze yourself and repeat.
Yeah. Did you catch most of it? Or
I did. Yes.
Okay. After the academy, I said we are doing some good work with
Frito-Lay, yes.
Parlays and Frito-Lays.
Yes.
And there could be ample opportunities of similar things where we could collaborate and do good work. After the show, if we could catch up, maybe in a few days' time, and see where it evolves out.
Look forward, Mr. Nath. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. So Nihal had a question.
Yeah. So Samir, hi.
Hi,
The
Nihal.
question is that, the FBAI, do you actually only blog about restaurants and, live kitchens, or do you also blog, or you also have, views on the snacking stuff and, the packaged snacks and all of that?
No, so everything, Nihal, now. That's what I'm saying. Initially, we called it the Food Bloggers Association of India because primarily it was all about blogging. But as of now, it is about, A to Z in the food, drink, and hospitality space. So therefore, it's called the FBI. And as you said, we do, so we don't blog really. We put things out on social media. But we are more so as a platform for bloggers where we are connected. And, we get our bloggers involved whenever the need be. So, for example, we've done a campaign recently for Kurkure, where we got 14 bloggers involved across the country. And all are paid assignments because we are getting paid. And we, paid the bloggers. And there was a certain activity they had to do. And they did that and they got paid.
Okay, so it's about any snacking stuff and anything. So tomorrow, so you're saying that you developed that expertise.
Sorry.
So you have in-house expertise. Do you have in-house expertise on the snacking and the packaging part?
Our expertise is
connections,
strategy, social media, and marketing. All the other expertise, right from cooking to chefs to everything, is third parties.
Understood. Thanks so much.
So we are not experts in cooking also, but we have people who are experts. Yeah.
So Reshma had a question is how much does such a collab cost? The one you did for Kurkure. You want to answer, you answer. If you don't answer, don't answer.
Yeah. Don't ask about. But it depends on the brand and what is to be done and who is the kind of profile they want to get in. So if there are simple home bakers or home chefs or bloggers who are at the very median level, the costs are not too prohibitive. But of course, if you want the established bloggers and etc., and if you want tweet also, Insta, so it's very customizable.
Great. Okay. Who else is there?
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Urusha, do you have any question?
It's just that I just wanted to know one small thing from you, sir.
Yeah.
Right now, as you mentioned that as the lockdown eases, the people will go out and have different kind of meals and cuisines. I just wanted to know, in this kind of a space where already we have this issue of hygiene and everything in our country anyways, how will a home chef try to expand? Like, because I just recently started in this section.
Yes.
So I wanted to know, will the future, of course, orders will obviously come in and will differ, but how to proceed in this direction? Because knowing the fact that home food is obviously more hygienic compared to restaurants.
So there are 2-3 things. One is it depends on how the situation plays out. We don't even know for restaurants how it's going to play out. So there is no idea on that. There are all speculations by everyone from the industry. So nobody knows. And even I can't answer that. And second, it depends on the objective of the home chef. What is your end goal, or where do you want to reach in a particular point of time? Do you want to own a restaurant? Do you want to expand your home delivery? Do you want to own a cloud or a dark kitchen? What is it that you want to do? So once you match these two, you can actually get an answer.
Okay, great. So I think the way you suggested, delivering more and like underselling sort of a thing, it really works well, because I have been doing that for some time now, and the customers are really happy with that. So
absolutely, thank you.
Great. Okay, Ashwini had a question. He says whether you have a son called as Tushar who runs a restaurant.
No.
I said he's got a small son.
I have a son called Tanish who's still in school.
Okay. So Nile had a question about, Nile, are you there?
I don't think.
Hello.
Yeah, Nile. We asked a question, you were not there. Yeah, you can ask a question. Nile Jain, your mic is off. Okay. So Urusha, answering your one question about this food and hygiene.
Right.
One thing is that, people have got fed up cooking at home.
Yeah.
Right.
They will go out for an occasion, but if there is an opportunity to get some home cooked food or something, that will be there. Because home cooked food is always home cooked food. So this can be one more addition, in a week. Suppose you're making food 4 times. You're calling, maybe going out for a meal 1 time. You can, maybe call a home cook something to make yourself, because, housewives are pretty busy, doing all this stuff. So this assembly of meal, you look at Godrej and all, they have all this pre-cut food and all over there. So this assembly of things will still be there for people who are, especially bachelors who are staying alone and people like that. It's a very good thing for them to use.
So that was the whole thing actually, like this, those Maggie eaters, something better to eat with just a few steps.
Yeah. So in fact, Tata with a Q has come out with these.
They have started a new thing. Yes.
Yeah, ready to eat. Honestly, they don't taste that good. But if you want some different kind of taste and not to cook at home, then in 99 or 120 rupees, you can try that, kind of food.
Right.
Great. Okay. Ashish, do you have any questions? Ashish is a avid foodie. And Ashish he's eating, Chupchap is eating. Ashish, your mic is off.
I'm having my meal.
Kya kha rahe ho, Ashish?
I'm having salad, toast salad.
Oh, lovely.
Great. So Ashish has been on a weight loss program. So Ashish, you want to share about your weight loss a bit about that?
Yeah, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, basically I can share. See, when I met Sam, we call it Sam Sampath. We shortly call him with love Sam.
Yeah.
And we met in 2008 and in BNI, and he's the guiding force, me joining BNI and doing fantastic job in BNI. And in BNI, we used to have morning breakfast. So after the meet, so usual we are Gujarati and our breakfast timings are around say 8 to 8:30. And in the BNI meet, it goes to around 9:30 or 10. So at that time, we used to have it a breakfast. Okay. So breakfast was like कि हम लोग पेट भर के मतलब खाना ही खाना है उतना breakfast we used to have it, and due to that I have a habit of means food का इतना शौक है, so I have increased the weight till 160 kgs, and then 3 years back I have to go for a bariatric surgery, and in that I have lost around 50 kgs of weight.
Wow. Okay.
And right now also last couple of months it has increased by 3 to 4 kgs. So again now I am coming on gradually coming on fully diet food, and that's why means I love the food very well, and as Sam has said, this is a fantastic place to be here, so he has invited me, and so I'm here and hearing all about all foodie people, food thing. And that's great experience. Thanks a lot.
So,
Thanks,
Ashish, you should connect to Urusha. She makes some really good bowls of all healthy food. You should connect to her, supply some. And she's
Yes,
Buju, so you'll get good Buju vegetarian food.
Okay. So I will take a number from you after the meeting.
તમને મોકલી આપીશ તમને બધું details.
Okay, great.
Yeah, yes, Sam, I had a question.
Nile is back. Okay, Nile, you also had gone for food, looks like.
Hello.
Yeah, you had gone for food, looks like.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah, my question was that how are restaurants and cafes primarily being real estate based businesses apart from delivery part? So how have they been impacted in the lockdown? I'm sure it has been bad, but then we are seeing reports of about 40% of restaurants and cafes shutting down. But is there any way for them to survive in this kind of crisis?
No, Nile, very difficult. It depends on, actually with the landlords on leased properties, it purely depends on their personal negotiations with their landlords. As simple as that. If they are able to negotiate, say, I know a couple of people who have negotiated 50% of the rent during the 3 months, but payable, later on. Moratorium or whatever they call it. So then that's a good deal and they are able to survive. But if a landlord insists that the full rent has to be paid, then it's going to be very difficult. And you're right, 40 to 50% will shut down. So the industry says, but we will have to wait and watch. I mean, no one has a clear idea actually.
So are the margins, even margins don't support a 3-month lockdown or 3-month shutdown of restaurants?
In my view, they would, especially for the larger chains, they would, and especially for the chains which are invested into, or the companies that are invested into, I'm sure they will survive the 3-month lockdown. But it's the smaller entrepreneurs who have taken loans from the bank or used their parents' money, or in whatever ways put their savings in, which will get majorly hit.
Great. Thanks, Samir. You just be online. I'm just shifting everybody to the breakout rooms.
Yeah.
You'll get Samir will be there with me, and you'll get the breakout rooms in 1 second.
Yeah, thank you all for joining and for having me and for the questions.